everyone. We are getting set up and ready to go here. Drop a wave in the chat if you can hear me. We had a little bit of technical difficulties this morning, so we're trying this at noon. I can see I've got a couple of you watching right now, so if you want to, pop a hi in the chat. I know I already put a little hello. Awesome, and I've got Rio, my wonderful, amazing, in the chat, letting me know that she can hear me, so that's phenomenal. We are off to a great start today. This live is me coming on here to celebrate the fact that our 8-week pre-ski program is kicking off on Monday, which is wild. So I am going to be answering some of the questions I got from last year's participants, questions I've had in the chat as people are getting ready for this ski season. And then if you pop any questions you have in the chat, I want to answer them as well. I'm so excited that we're on here and we're rocking and rolling. So I'm going to start by opening up some of the old questions that I got from last year. We're going to start there and then we'll move on to anything new. So looking down the list, we are starting with, oh, I loved this one. This was a very specific question that I got about a ski trip. And I always get different variations of this. And it's why I include coaching in with the 8-week pre-ski program. This question was, my ski trip is January 15th. When should I start the program? So when you're getting ready for any kind of trip, you always want to work back from the date that if it's a race, the date you're racing. If it's a trip, the day you're leaving for the trip. And you want to work back and figure out, okay, when should I start? A huge misconception people have about the 8-week pre-ski program is that it's only 8 weeks, which kind of on me for naming it 8-week pre-ski program. You actually get access to the program for an entire year. So what I do with clients is we talk about when their trip is, and then we figure out maybe we go through the ski program twice before their trip, or maybe their trip is a heli skiing trip and they want to make sure they have lots of power for it. So we make sure that they do the strength portion once and then the power portion of the program 2 times through. So it's very specific to you. But January 15th, that would be October to November, December, January. So 3 months away. I would probably 3.5, I'd probably say for this person, depending on what their goals were, we would go through the whole program and then repeat the last cycle of the program before they left for their trip. And of course, that would include like a deload or a recovery before they want to be peaking for their trip. I can see I got a couple more people on live here. Hello, hello. This chat is all about us celebrating the fact that we're going into fall. I don't know about you, but here in Canada, we got our first negative numbers, our first below freezing overnight. So it's starting to feel like it's getting close to ski season. And we are launching our 8-week pre-ski fitness program on Monday is when it starts. So I've come on, I'm answering some questions I got from previous clients and also from Instagram. And if you pop a question in the chat, I will get on it and answer it as well, which is kind of wild because I don't know what you guys are going to ask. But let's go on to the next question that I got through Instagram. Oh, and this was a really nice one. You might notice that I am in a new space. If you're new here, hello. This is a barn that I've converted into a gym, but I wasn't always in it. In fact, a year ago, we started converting this space. And before that, I had a gym in another barn. 7 years ago, I converted my first space into a gym, which is wild. And just a year ago, we moved into this place. So I feel so lucky to be in this new spot. It took so much work to convert. This is an active barn downstairs, but up here we put drywall on and we even got that sign all lit up. My dad actually helped me do that. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think the gym is cool too. And a real upside for the gym is I have internet service in here, which I didn't have at my last place. So when I'm filming workouts, I can immediately upload them for the people in my programs, which has been amazing. So moving on to the next question that I got from our ski participants. Can skiing be my training for skiing? I have my CSIA level 4 this winter. Cool. So CSIA is a certifying body for ski instructors, and I didn't get a date on when they're doing it, but this is a huge question I get from people a lot. And I kind of agree in some ways that skiing can be your training for skiing. Now, hear me out. Being on snow means that you are moving outside. So you're getting the health benefits of moving around. You're getting the health benefits of being outside. And you're also getting the health benefits of being in a colder environment, which can offer some upside for your fitness and health as well, which is really cool. The thing I like to think about when it comes to is skiing my training is if we start in a physically higher place in terms of strength or cardio fitness, then we have a jumping off point so that our improvements from skiing can come from us getting better technically and tactically. We don't have to think about our body as much. It is real that we have a higher injury risk on hill than we do when we're sitting in our kitchen. And we're exposing ourselves to higher amounts of force because we're using gravity to go as fast as we can. And that's what makes skiing fun, right? Pop in the chat if you enjoy going very fast on snow. I know I certainly do. And to get ourselves ready for that artificial environment, doing some work to ready our tendons and our ligaments and our muscles means that we are reducing our injury risk. And that is backed up by research. There was a very specific study done with young athletes, and they looked at implementing very simple work on plyometrics and strength, and their injury risk was reduced the next season. So the work in here can reduce our injury risk on hill, although it's never zero because we're going fast in an artificial environment. And the other thing that can contribute to injury risk on snow is we're wearing ski boots. And so those ski boots mean that if we're limiting the range of motion of one joint, we typically expose the joints above and beyond or below that to a higher potential for going past their current range of motion. Our way to insulate against that is to build strength prior to being on snow. So long story short, because I'm Rio, who is she came on as a marketer, but she does all things behind the scenes here at WILDR. She has told me that I get 20 minutes for this live. So I'm going to try and be quick. But long story short, skiing is incredible exercise for you and is a great way to stay and be fit. And at the same time, getting ready for it before the season starts means you can have more fun on snow and you can not think about your body while you're skiing and instead focus on all the other things that make skiing great. I can see that we got a question in the chat here. Rotator cuff injuries, can you speak on helping to prevent? Oh, that's a really cool question. When it comes to skiing, I assume you mean when it comes to skiing. If you need to clarify, you can pop it in the chat. But when we're on snow, the highest risk that we place on the shoulders is from this situation where our arm is outstretched and we're falling on an outstretched arm. The farther your hand is from your shoulder, the more force is transmitted to the shoulder. Your rotator cuff is actually a series of 4 really small little muscles that help keep that shoulder moving and staying set in the shoulder socket. And so step 1 would be to reduce falling, but that is not always possible on hill. In fact, I took a massive fall last season and it was actually kind of fun, but we can always fall on snow. The other option is to make sure that we have and we work on our mobility and strength. If we have durable tissues, we can reduce our injury risk when it comes to us falling and when we expose ourselves to a sudden movement. If you have more questions about that, pop them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to go to one of the other ones from our program participant this year. Oh, and this was a really cool one. This was a conversation I had with someone who wanted to train for ski touring the first time. They've taken our 8-week ski program for downhill skiing, and they were wondering how it was going to be different if they're using it for ski touring. So If you don't know what ski touring is, maybe you haven't heard that term before. Ski touring is where you walk up the hill with your skis on, you pull the skins off, which are the things that make them sticky, put them in your backpack, and then you ski down yourself. There's actually some resorts in North America that are becoming more geared to ski touring in specific, but for the most part, you're doing this in like a backcountry type environment. It's very fun. I love ski touring. The difference is if you're at a resort, you are getting a ton of downhill runs. That means loading eccentric forces. That means lots of power-based training. When you're ski touring, you're lucky because it takes so long to walk up the hill. Usually an hour of uphill travel will give you, I don't know, depending on how slow you're moving or fast you're moving, like 10 minutes of downhill travel. So we end up focusing in the ski program for ski tours more on building that engine and those stabilizing muscles for going up the hill while making sure we still have go, because you have less downhill runs, so you want to make the most of them. So if you've done the ski program before with the downhill focus, and then you add on the touring focus, you're going to notice that we work a little bit more on hip flexors, hip extension, and on building that metabolic engine to help you go up the hill first, because there's nothing worse than being so worn out from the tour up that you don't enjoy the way down. And for anyone that's on here right now, oh, you're welcome for answering the rotator cuff question. For anyone who's on right now, you can take a look through the link in the description. Jump on the ski program before we kick off on Monday. There's actually 2 start dates, Monday and then November 3rd. So if you want to join in, check that out through the link in the description below. But let's move on to our next question. And remember, if you're just on now and you have a question about skiing and fitness, pop it in the chat and I will answer it. Heading down, the next thing, oh yes, is a question about the way that I structure programs. This came from someone last year, and they told me that they were really nervous about the deload week. And so the question they asked was, why do we take an easier week halfway through a program? Aren't we supposed to be getting stronger? And this was really eye-opening to me, because sometimes I forget to share how important it is to take more restful weeks. Now, if you're signing up for the program, this doesn't mean that halfway through the program, we just do nothing for a week. Instead, it means we actually take the workouts that we've been doing and making harder throughout the program. We take a week where we make them just a little bit easier in terms of the number of sets and reps we're doing. And that actually allows your body to hyper respond to what you're asking it to do. Because we are actually asking our body to make physical changes. Like when you finish this program, you will have more muscle fibers, but only if you give the body a challenge that will be made easier if the body has more muscle, and then you allow it to change. You give it enough food, you give it some rest. And so what people will find is that after that deload or easier week, they actually come back way stronger. It's really cool. Little bit of science, counterintuitive though. And I actually changed the way that I do deload weeks. I used to be that I would just shorten the workouts and I would tell clients, hey, it's an easier week, catch up on sleep, do another hobby for the little bit of time that you're not doing workouts. And I've changed that to include more mobility during our deload weeks, because I've found that clients love taking that extra time that they have and using it to explore their other ranges of motion while keeping the same schedule. This ski program is not asking for you to be in the gym an hour a day for the next 8 weeks. In fact, I've worked really hard to make it the shortest possible workouts, 20 to 30 minutes, for 2 to 4 times per week, depending on you as a person, where you're starting and what you're working towards. I've worked really hard to make it so focused that we don't spend crazy amounts of time in the gym, because you don't have to. Focused work means that you don't need to spend as much time doing it. And that is why our ski program is 20 to 30 minute workouts, very short amount of time, very short time commitment, but amazing feedback for how it helps people feel on hill. I'm going to share a testimonial just now. This was from Jennifer, and she said, I wanted to feel stronger for bigger days out, ski touring and on the hill. I love the program. I use a lot of the exercises we learned. I feel like it contributed in a positive way to my strength and injury prevention in a way that I haven't found with other programs. Alicia has a really great creative take on things. And I thought that was sweet because I do spend like time at night. I will wake up in the middle of the night, think of an exercise and then write it down. And the next day I'll try it in the gym. So I appreciate that I'm being seen there. There's a few exercises that have been really important ones for the ski program that have come to me when I'm skiing or when I'm sleeping the next night after I go skiing for a day. But if you want to join the program, we kick off Monday. So check out the link through the description below. If you have any questions, put them in the chat right now, or you can reach out to me on that website and I can answer for you if you have a specific question. One that I got from a repeat. We've got a lot of repeaters this year. One of them asked, what's the biggest change to this year's program? And I have two answers. The first is a very functional change, and that is I went back through all the videos and I added a timer. In this the ski program, if you haven't done it before, we have full follow along workout video that I film in here or in the old gym, and you can do the workout alongside me. A lot of people love that, not necessarily because they want a workout video, but because they want someone else to keep track of reps and sets and time, and they find it way better to have that follow along video. I actually also had a client yesterday tell me that the follow along video allows them to focus, because if you scroll down, you can see the workout written out, but they found that when they did the written out version, they would get distracted by the other apps on their phone in the middle of their workout. So they do the full follow along, and that has been a massive, I think, the biggest change in our program. I'm very proud of the time and effort we put in to make those full follow along videos. The cool thing this year is I've added timers so that you also know, I know that we're starting at the top of the minute. Okay, I have 30 seconds to grab my water. Now that's the biggest, kind of technical change. And then on the other side, I've done a lot of research in the last half a year on balance, because when I was in school, we talked about balance, but definitely as you should work on balance, but there's no best practices. And so this year, because I get people asking about how to have better balance on snow, I dug into the research to see where we were at. And I learned a couple really cool things. We have a 4-part video series on balance for skiing that you should check out after this if you have some time. And the big takeaways I applied to our program this year. So I added some more ski-specific balance moves, because one of the big takeaways for balance training is the more specific it is, the more benefits you get. Meaning, just doing a random balance drill doesn't really transfer to the specific skill of skiing. You want to mimic either the environment, which is tough to do in a gym, or the movement and skill itself. The closer the task mimics that what you want an improvement in, the more it will affect it, which is really cool. Anyways, all of that to say, I use that info to update this year's programming, which is pretty neat. And I see we got a couple more people on the live chat. If you want to ask a question, pop it in the chat. I'm on here live. If not, I've got some other questions I'm working through. But all of this is in celebration of our 8-week ski program, which is kicking off on Monday. So if you want to get on that program, then link in the description below. You can check it out and join me. Our next question. Oh, yes, came from Mark on Instagram, and he asked, best cardio for pairing with the ski program. So the ski program actually comes with cardio recommendations, and whether you're training for ski touring or training to be on the hill going downhill skiing, we do separate cardio prescriptions for you. But it is true that there's like good pairings to do when it comes to pairing a strength program with cardio. Tends to be a lot of people when they're trying to build strength, if they're working on that kind of in the middle, hard but not too hard cardio, there is some research to show that can blunt or reduce your strength gains. And so we want to be working either at a quite low intensity or quite high intensity when it comes to pairing strength training with cardio. I had another related question. Someone said, if you could only use strength training or cardio training to get ready for skiing, which would you pick? And that felt really hard. I would prefer not to answer, but if I'm forced to answer, I would say I would pick strength training before cardio training. Now, when you're halfway down a mogul run, you want a heart and lungs that can move oxygen for sure. That being said, there is real substantial research showing that a little bit of work in the gym is going to reduce your injury risk on hill. And so when I think about the fact that I want to be skiing, not just this year, but like 5 years from now and 10 years from now and 20 years from now, I would choose strength, gaining muscle, keeping power over cardio. Hopefully nobody gets too mad at me about that one. I am over my 20 minutes already. So 30-second warning. If you have a question, pop it in the chat. If not, thank you so much for coming on and watching this today. And I'd love to have you in the ski program. We have some spots left, so you can jump on and be part of that with me. The ski program starts with a movement assessment and a one-on-one meeting with me, because I have found there's so many different types of skiing that people are training for. Like, some people are getting ready for a trip. I've got a lot of people who are professionals. They're patrollers, mountaineers, ski instructors. And so this is kind of an investment in them feeling good all year. We've got all kinds of kinds. We also have people getting ready for, I only have 5 days in Whistler this year, and so I want to be ready for it. Or last year, I helped a gal get ready for her first cat skiing trip, which was very special. She had a great time, but having some fitness to get you ready for that can really help you feel like you are going to make the most of the time and investment that you've spent to be on snow. So it is my absolute pleasure to work with everyone that I get a chance to work with. And so we start with that one-on-one assessment. You get some customization of the program, custom mobility. And then as a group, we all chat and we share tips. In fact, last year, people helped me decide what type of skis to get, because I was renewing my quiver, getting a new pair of skis for the first time in 4 years. So we have that group aspect, but mainly the thing I'm really proud about is the follow along videos, working with me one-on-one to kick the program off and to check in and to close at the end. And the fact that you get a year of access. So you're going to make the start of your season better. It's going to feel like you have the pep that you usually have in mid-season right at the start. And then it makes your season longer too, because you can get more out of every day on snow. All right. If you have any questions after this, I need you to head on over to the link in the description below, find the chat box, and shoot me a message. Or you can find me on socials. I'm active on Instagram, and you can shoot me a DM, and I'll be watching for that this afternoon. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have an absolute wilder week, and we'll talk to you soon.